Okay, so today I'm going to be bringing you guys a guide to Stella Montes. It's going to be a beginner's guide, but I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to navigate the map, the easiest way to find out, how to get from one spot to the other. If you find yourself lost in this maze of a map and puzzle of a map, this is going to be a pretty good video on how to break down the map and simplify it. Obviously, you're still going to have to run through the map, but if you watch this video and then maybe run through Stella Montes with like a free kit or something, and then kind of just like put into place the things that I teach you in this, I feel like you'll learn the map pretty quick. If you guys do want an advanced guide after this, feel free to comment below. But for now, we're going to break down the basics of Stella Montes. So, first things first, and probably the most important, especially for learning this map or any map, but especially in Stella Montes, is the feature on the map that a lot of people don't utilize. At the bottom right here, I don't know what the button would be for console, so I'm going to show you right here. For me, it's E. It's called Switch Layers. Stella Montes actually has 2 layers to it, as you can see right here. 1, 2. There's a couple sections where there's multi-levels and multi-floors to the map. But we'll get to that when we reach those points. But the main thing that you need to know is there's 2 layers to Stella Montes. And right now, we're going to start off on the first layer. The second tip that I want to show you guys is if you're ever lost in a section of this map, whether it be loading bay, sandbox, metro, seed vault, medical assembly, a big tip is usually, for the most part, the corners of the map is how you get from one spot to the other. The corners of this section. So in Sandbox, it'll be 2 sections. Robotic Sandbox B and Robotic Sandbox A. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. So right here, just notice, if you're ever lost and you need to get from one section to the other, go to the corner of the room based on the map. Obviously, if you go to like assembly, there's no corner over here, so you're not going to get anywhere. If there's medical, this side doesn't matter when you're on the edges of the map, but obviously you go to the other corners, like this corner or this corner. But we'll start in loading bay, and here's an example. So if you are in loading bay and you want to get to sandbox and you don't know how to, just go to the very corner of this section and you can get to sandbox B. Right here, all you have to do is realize there's nowhere to go here, so all you have to do is vault up, enter this, and now you're in Sandbox B. Just walk over here, follow the path, and now you're in Sandbox B. Same thing goes for the corners of the map. So I'm just going to show you this tech, and then we'll run through the rest of the map pretty quick based on just the quick little knowledge you've learned here. If you go to the southwest corner of Loading Bay, what you'll notice is if you hover over it, it says Metro Entrance. So all you have to do is go down, and that's pretty much how you get to the Metro. Obviously, that's the only place it's going to lead to. So if you go over here and you go to we'll start off, because we're going to end up in medical here. So we're going to go to the northeast corner of Loading Bay. As you can see, the northeast corner has 2 sections. It goes towards, the northeast point goes towards the tunnel. And here, these are the 2 different connecting points. So you go to the very corner of this, which is this entrance right here. And if you stand right here, you'll notice the left side is the Western Tunnel, and as you can see just on the map, that Western Tunnel would bring you all the way to Lobby Metro. But for now, if you want to get to robotics, all you have to do is literally just follow this. Just go over here, go up the stairs, follow all the way over here, and you can see on the floor, it'll be like Loading Bay here, Robotic Sandbox A, and there's a lot of these around the map too. But it'll just show you pretty much this is how you get to Robotic Sandbox A. So if you see 2 sections, the corner will lead you. Go to the right, it'll go to A. You can just look at the map, you realize the Western Tunnel will bring you to Lobby Metro. With that being said, let's go to the last section of Loading Bay. What are they trying to play, a game of Clue and find out how this guy died? You go to the section over here, and there's multiple entrances into this. But we'll start off on the first level, all restricted access Metro. You go to the bottom. You realize if you hover, it's a Metro entrance. So you can just look right there. That ladder will bring you straight to the Metro as portrayed right here. Now, if you go right here, this ladder will bring you up into this room. This stairs will bring you up into this room. That section is another stairwell that'll bring you up into the same exact room. And we'll just go to make it simplified. The very corner of Metro, you just go over here. You can vault up. You can vault up again. And it'll bring you straight into the section where all 3 of the points lead, and they're all in the corner. So all you have to do is look at the map. You realize dead end. You follow it. There's no zip line. Right here, zip line. If you want to know where a ladder goes or a zip line goes, all you have to do is get to the zip line, get to the point, press E, because that'll switch the layer of where you're going to end up, and that'll bring you straight to medical research. So now you know this ladder, even before taking it, is going to bring you into medical research. So with medical research, the thing that you have to know is if you want to get out of this spot, the same thing applies. Obviously, we're going to go to the corners of medical. So the southwest corner, you realize there's nothing there. It's the end of the map. So if you want to go to loading bay, you'll realize, where does this section lead? It'll have things all over too. Before you enter a spot, a lot of times it'll be written on the walls. So you realize this southeast corner will bring you into loading bay, the second floor of loading bay. Same thing applies for this. Okay, we look at the map. We want to go to the corner of these sections like taught earlier. We'll take out this guy real quick. So we'll go to the corners, right? Like we said, there's 4 corners here. This corner will lead you to Metro. The other corner over here, it's a dead end. You can see it doesn't lead anywhere, so there's no point in even checking that. But we're going to go to the northeast section of this. We'll walk over here. Where does this corner lead? Straight to, if you just look at this, straight to assembly. It'll lead you to the central corridor. It'll lead you to assembly. If you want to go to workshop, you could just follow this room all the way across. Same thing that goes for this one. If you go to the northwest section of medical research, where does this bring you? All you have to do is walk over here, open this door, open this, and it'll bring you straight to where it shows in the map, the assembly line. Also, too, if you can see, this is normally a breachable spot, but you're like, okay, where does this breach room take us? All you have to do is look on the map, and it brings you to the same section this other corner does, which is, it'll bring you straight to the central corridor. So, if you walk over here, obviously you have a battery door. You know, if anybody's familiar with this, you can find batteries across the map. You can input them into those battery doors. Where does the battery door lead? Just look straight on the map, medical research. It's fairly simple. So, I'm pretty much going to run through the whole map and show you how these tricks can help you navigate. You don't really, once you learn these, you don't have to know the map. You don't have to be familiar with the territory. All you have to know is, okay, if I just follow these rules, whether it be the switching layers on the map or going to the corner sections of the map, and learning how to use this map, the amount of Stella Montis you can learn in such a short amount of time will blow anything out of the water that you've been doing just by, banging your head into the wall, getting lost. So as long as it's focused learning, you can learn this map pretty quick. So like I said, after this, if you just follow these tips, go into Stella Montis, maybe with a free kit, you can learn this map super fast. And like I said, after this, once you guys are pros, and ready for it, I'll make an advanced guide. But yeah, same thing goes for assembly. So obviously, as you can see, the corner over here doesn't lead to anything. You can switch the layer and realize it's nothing. It's the same thing. You can go over here. It doesn't lead to anything. It's dead end. So with that being said, what does the southwest corner of assembly lead to? Medical, which we followed. If you go to the other corner over here, which is the other corner of assembly, which you'll follow to the very end of it. Okay, where does this go? Like I said, there's a writing on the walls all the time, loading bay. You follow this over here, and it leads you straight to the second section of loading bay. So if you're in assembly and you're in this corner, you're like, okay, how do I get to the metro? How do I get here? How do I get to this section? Like I said, you just have to follow the corners of the map, use the map to your advantage, and you can navigate anywhere exponentially easier than just kind of just going off visual cues by just walking through the map. So with that being said, the next step is going to be to the northeast corner of loading bay. So where does this take you? This is where it gets a little tricky, obviously, right? Because this is, if you go to this section, it's a dead end, but if you just follow the thing, you realize there's a hole in the wall. So if you want to find out where this goes, obviously you can switch the layers here, and it's grayed out, but if you switch the layer, it shows you that you can go into Lobby Metro from this. If you just follow the stairs down, you go to Lobby Metro. Even if you keep this layer, you realize at some point, right, this little section will bring you into the lobby area. Because once you get up there, there'll be stairs that go up into the lobby, and there'll be stairs that go down into Metro. So the next step is teaching you how to make this jump. I know a lot of people struggle with this jump, and there's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to show you 2 out of the 3 ways, because these are the ones that I use. The running start, which I use all the time, you're going to want to jump at this corner. So you're going to want to run from this angle, and then jump at this. Once you hit this and you get elevated a little bit, because obviously once you stand on this, your character slightly gets elevated, it'll boost you up enough to make this jump. So you want to jump pretty much right as you hit this elevation. You don't want to hold A or D. You want to hold only forward. So obviously for console, it'll just be your forward. So however you walk forward, you don't want to hold anything else because that'll ruin momentum. So all we're going to do is run at this at an angle. We're going to jump here, and we're going to spam the vault key, which for us is jump, obviously. So we run over here, we jump at the corner, and then you just spam it, and you can get onto that. Also, too, if you do it a little bit earlier, you can still just straight jump from the corner. So you just do the same thing right here. And pretty simple. Sometimes you do the animation where you run up. Sometimes you do the animation where you straight jump onto it. The next step is going to be on this little elevated section. So right here, a lot of people, this little elevated part, you can stand on top of this. It'll elevate you a little bit more. And if you're over encumbered, a lot of people use this just to straight jump. So you pretty much just get onto this edge, you get elevated a little bit, and all you have to do is jump forward and just pretty much get to this corner, elevate, you'll jump forward, and you don't even really have to hold sprint, but sprint could help you go a little bit further. The main thing is just holding W and jump. So we'll go over here, boom, 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 and you jump straight onto that ledge, vault up. So with that being said, these are the two spots. You can full sprint from this corner, jump on, or you can go to this ledge, and you could just straight jump from here as long as you're elevated, and you'll just jump. So I like to do the run jump because obviously I'm usually just running from this section anyways, and it's a bit faster. So I just do this, jump up, and get up. So with that being said, we're gonna move from here. Like I said, if you're in a crossway where, okay, where does this bottom stairs lead to and where does the top stair lead to? It's the switch layers. The bottom stairs is always gonna go to the bottom layer, which is this. This is the bottom layer, and you realize, okay, the bottom layer will go to lobby metro. If I want to go up, you switch layers to the top. It'll bring you straight into lobby. With that being said, we're going to go straight up into lobby. Actually, let's go to lobby metro. It'll be a bit quicker here. So we'll show you lobby metro real fast. And in lobby metro, we're going to run through these next section quick because now that you know the gist of it, this is pretty much how to navigate anywhere on the map. It gets a little tricky sometimes, but we'll go through those really quick. So we'll kill this real quick. Uh-oh, he didn't die. So if you look at lobby metro, you can just see there's 3 sections right here, right? You have the section over here that leads into tunnel, the section that leads into this tunnel, you have the stairwell. So these are all corners, right? Bottom left corner leads you into loading bay. Right corner leads you all the way to eastern tunnel, which can lead you into seed vault. And if you follow over here, there's actually a jump up right here. And if you're like, okay, where does this jump up lead to? There's a bunch of boxes. All you have to do, press E. You realize it's going to lead you, jump up straight into cultural archives. So this is very valuable for any section of the map. If you're under any ladder, any jump up, any zip line, all you have to do is switch layers and it'll show you exactly where it goes. So lobby metro shows you these stairs. There's a stairwell over here, as you can see. Where does the stairwell lead? Switch floors, straight to lobby. With that being said, we're gonna do this. So this is another section for people who don't do the jump up. You're like, okay, if I don't have this jump up over here, how can I get to lobby if I don't know how to get to the jump up? It's going to be the same way that you navigate how we do without the entire map, right? Throughout the entire map. So we'll jump back down this just to show you and realize, okay, we're on this layer right now. It shows a dark path. Where are we going? Once you get to any dark path that leads you into a different layer, all you have to do is press E, and then you realize now you're in Sandbox A. So same thing goes for Sandbox A. How do you navigate Sandbox A? The corners. So you go to the corner, you vault up here. It tells you right now, this leads you straight into loading bay. You go over here, the same type of thing. This leads you into loading bay. It'll show you right there. So we're gonna go kill these shredders real quick so we can make this a little simpler. Okay, so this corner over here, where does it lead you? Into lobby metro. So if you ever need to get from assembly and you can't do the jump, like I said, you could just follow assembly. It follows the ramp. It's a dead end. Okay, let's switch layers. Let's see where it leads to. It leads in a sandbox. You follow sandbox across, and it brings you straight into lobby metro. Even if you aren't familiar with this at all, see, it'll show you metro admin, and it'll lead you straight to this extract. If you use the map and you use the rule of going to the corners of each section, you will not get lost anywhere on this map. There's a couple of tricky sections, but the same thing applies. So if you go to the southwest corner of Lobby Metro and you follow here and you realize, okay, this is the corner that leads me to loading bay. You want to go to the southwest corner of Sandbox. You're like, okay, this leads me here. We go straight to the loading bay. Where does this one lead you? It shows you control room B1, control room A1. All you have to do is read the top. You go up here, and this brings you into this section right here. It's just the second layer of Sandbox. How do you go across over there? You just follow the bridge over here. See, it'll show a bridge. You go to the other section. So we'll just go back down real quick so we can run through this. We got 8 minutes left on the map. It's going to be a long video, relatively long, but you know what? This video, the amount of time you'll spend watching this video, it'll save you hours and hours of navigating through Stella Montis. So with this being said, now we want to go to Sandbox B. How do we get there? Corner of the map. Same thing applies, you know. Go to the southeast corner. It brings you straight into Sandbox B. But obviously, while we're down here, you want to realize, okay, where does this section lead to? That is pretty much the crossway between both A and B Sandbox. You go down there, all you realize, you follow it down, it goes into loading bay. So, with that being said, we'll go into Sandbox B. Same thing applies as well. If you go to the southeast, you go to the southeast corner. Where does that lead? It'll even say it right here, Seed Vault. You follow it all the way down. How do you get out of this? And how do you get to loading bay? You go to the southwest corner. You realize there's nothing there. It's empty. It's an empty corner. So obviously you just follow it around to the nearest corner that you can find an entrance. Just walk out here. Boom. Now you're back in loading bay. So we'll go back over here and we'll go to Seed Vault. So we'll run into the southeast corner of Seed Vault. And we're going to do another rule that'll apply the same way. You go to this section, and you're like, okay, where does this lead to? Sandbox is the one that there's a first and second floor. You don't switch layers until you go to all the way up top. So right here, this will show you that if you vault up, it'll lead you straight into control room, pretty much where we just left previously. You just go over there, go into control room. Now you're like, okay, this ladder goes all the way up. Where does it go? Switch layers, straight into Atrium. Obviously, now you know. Anytime you go into these zip lines or ladders or anything, it'll bring you all the way up. So you just press E, go all the way back down to the layer that you're on, and we'll follow this seed vault all the way down. You realize there's nothing over here. You realize it's a dead end. You look at the map, press E, there's nothing there. So we're going to follow this. We'll kill this shredder real quick. And you realize, where does this lead? We'll go over here, and we're like, okay, where does this corridor lead? It shows a dead end. You walk over here. You just run this way, and like I said, whenever there's a dead end and it's all black and you can't see anything on the map, once you get there, that means there's elevation. So once you get to this section, it'll actually a lot of time auto swap you to the layer, just based on the map. But if you get here and you want to figure out where it goes, you just press E, and you realize, okay, if I go up the zip, it'll lead me to Cultural and Atrium. Cultural is going to be on the second floor right here. It'll be on the second floor. Atrium will be on the very top. So if you follow that zip line all the way, it'll bring you straight to Atrium. The second will bring you to Cultural. One thing I want to show you real quick before we go all the way up there is the same type of rule, you know? How do I get to Lobby Metro from Seed Vault? Where are the exits, and how do I navigate the map? All you have to do is go to the very corner, right? You realize there's nothing here. There's an entrance there. There's only one more section. You could go to this very corner. And you're like, okay, where does this go? And you're on the first layer, right? Because this is the seed. You go to the Seed Vault layer. This section, if you swap, you realize I'm about to change elevations. You go up, it brings you into Cultural. All you have to do is press E. You go over here. You're like, okay, where does this bring me? It brings you straight into the Eastern Tunnel. So you follow straight down, and you're like, okay, where does this tunnel lead? I'm super confused. You can go this way, and you realize if you just follow this tunnel all the way down and you're lost, just look at the map. It'll take you straight to Lobby Metro, just running all the way down. The map doesn't lie. You're like, okay, where does this section? There's a light coming down. I'm vaulting up a bunch of boxes. Rule applies here. Press E. You realize this entrance is going to bring you into Cultural. So we're going to go into Cultural real quick. And Cultural is going to have a couple different entrances. You're going to have this entrance. You're going to have the entrance in the corner over here. That is basically where we went to the zip lines. And you're going to have the corner all over here, which is another thing that brings you into Business Center. So we'll follow all the way over here real quick. We'll follow over here because you can see this will bring you to business. We'll start in Atrium. So if you go into Atrium real quick, You just follow the stairs all the way up. As you can see, we're going to Atrium. The same thing applies in Atrium. If you go to Atrium and you're lost, let's kill this real quick. You follow the corners. So if you go to the corner of Atrium over here, obviously we saw that can bring you into Cultural. Once you get to the zip line, if you just press E, you realize it'll take you all the way down to Seed Vault. You go over here. Obviously, you know, there's a dead end over here. There's no part of the map. There's no section. So none of that is going to lead you to anything. But if you go over here, this northwest corner of Atrium, where does it lead you? Straight into Loading Bay. Once you get into Loading Bay, the big points that I want to address is how to change elevation in Loading Bay. In Loading Bay, it's just the diagonal rule. From this top left to bottom right is where you will run into the zip lines. Top left is the zip line down here that leads you in its logistics admin. The zip line will bring you to medical. The zip line in the center, which you just cross across, this will bring you into the top floor of Loading Bay as well. And if you follow the diagonal all the way across over here, it's this zip line. This zip line will bring you to the bottom of Loading Bay. All you have to do, same thing, switch. And it'll bring you straight up to the third floor. So if you ever wonder where the zip lines are and where they lead, it's just a straight diagonal from top left to bottom right, and that'll bring you in those are the 3 elevation points on how to get to the top of Loading Bay. Same thing applies here. How do you get from Atrium to Lobby? And you realize this is connected. So all you have to do is go into the northwest corner, and there will be 2 sections. There will be a battery room where we showed you earlier. All you have to do is put a battery there. Or you can jump onto this, or you can, obviously you can see, you know, if you just find out how to get up there, right? There's stairs right there, there's zip lines right there, there's a zip line that goes across over here. And all you have to do is the corner from the bottom and the top will lead you into Lobby. So it's the same rule of thumb, just go up here. This is usually a breach room, but you'll follow here, and that's how you get into Lobby. Over here, you go to the northeast section, and this is probably one of the only trickier ones, really. But if you want to get to Lobby from the northeast section, the same thing applies, where you'll go to this corner, and you just follow it all the way down, and it'll bring you straight into Lobby. So this is one of the tricky parts that isn't really shown on the map that I want to show you guys. And this is the part in communications. So in communications, it's basically a funnel. You can go from here back to Atrium. If you go up, if you go straight this way, it'll lead you into Lobby. If you go to the bottom floor, it'll lead you to the battery room. But we have this vent. Obviously, the vent doesn't really show on the map. You can show right here. It doesn't even show on the map. But if you want to know where this vent leads, all you have to do is realize that Business Center is going to be right there, right? So Business Center is here. That's the only place it can bring you. You just follow up, go straight to Business Center. Once you're in Business Center, the same rule applies for everything else. You just go to the northwest corner. That'll bring you into Lobby. The northeast corner, it'll bring you straight into Cultural. This corner, you realize once you follow here, it's kind of a dead end, but you could just follow the hallway down, and it'll bring you straight into the section over here. You just read the thing on the wall, Atrium, Cultural, Seed Vault, and that means this section over here can pretty much navigate. This little room over here will navigate everything. This section to Atrium, you go all the way down. Second floor is going to be Cultural, all the way bottom. You just switch levels and realize, okay, I'm in Seed Vault now. So, you know, that's pretty much the main tricks for Stella Montes. I know it was the video was very repetitive, but I just wanted to show you pretty much how these tricks can come in handy when it comes to navigating Stella. If you're ever lost, the biggest things to take away from this video is going to be using the map and switching layers, and that if you're ever lost, the corners of each room is what's going to get you from one spot to the other. If you want to know how to get from this section to this section, all you have to do is use the corner. Obviously, once you navigate the map a little more, you kind of find tips and tricks. And like I said, you know, when everyone's a pro, when we're ready, we'll go ahead and make an advanced guide on how to, you know, some sweet spots, some shortcuts, and all these things on how to navigate. But with that being said, we're going to go over one last point. And that point is going to be, if you go into Stella Montis, you go to inspect, just remember, and obviously we're very repetitive here because we were kind of trying to show you how these tricks, that if you ever get lost and you ever forget what leads to what, because I can run through this entire map and show you, oh, this corridor leads here, this corridor leads here, this leads here, this leads here, and this is how you get here. That'll go in one ear and out the other, right? Because if you don't immediately practice that, it's going to be hard. You're going to run into the map, you're going to get confused, you're going to get lost. So I want to try to simplify it with certain tricks. And those tricks are basically, if you're ever lost, you can use the map. Layer 1 is the first floor of the entire Stella Montes. Layer 2 is the second floor. And if you're ever lost in the map, you realize the corners will lead you there. The northwest corner leads you into assembly. Northeast corner leads you into assembly here. If you go to the southeast corner, you realize this is going to lead you into the loading bay. Once you get to loading bay, the first floor, you go over here, the zip line, press E, it'll go to medical. This one, the northeast corner, it'll lead you into straight Sandbox. This will lead you, just follow it all the way. You go if you want to go to Lobby Metro, you go here. If you want to Sandbox here, you go to the southwest corner. That'll lead you to the Metro because it shows you right here. You go to the southeast corner because you want to get the Sandbox. Boom, just vault up here and you're in Sandbox. Once you're in Sandbox, same rule applies, right? You want to get to Seed Vault. Just follow the corner. If you want to get from Seed Vault across the map, you realize, okay, this drop down is going to bring me into, this little section. Once you're here, there's a drop down right here. It'll bring you straight into the Eastern Tunnel, and you can go from Seed Vault straight to Lobby Metro. So I hope this video was able to help you guys. I know it was repetitive, like I said before, but I was trying to just hammer in the details of, you know what, these are some key components on how you can navigate the map. If you guys watch this video, go into Stella Montis, just think about those 2 major points and kind of go into a free kit and navigate the map, you'll realize this map is not as tricky as it seems to be. You know, the puzzles, initially it looks like a maze. Like, how do I get from this point to this point? I go in circles here, go to this loop and go to this way, and I'm going in circles. To stop that, all you have to do is use the layers of the map, use the corners of each section, and you can navigate this map pretty flawlessly. Once you just run this a couple times using that trick, you'll realize, okay, this isn't too much of a maze after all, and I can get from one point to the other fairly easy. With that being said, I appreciate you guys watching. Good luck in Stella Montis. I know it's still going to be a little confusing, but I hope this video was able to help. If you guys have any criticism or anything about the video, if you realize, you know what, this really didn't help me that much, or I wish you would have touched a little more on this, you know, I'm always open to criticism. I want to make these videos as good as possible for you guys, you know, so you guys always help me out, you know, whether it be showing my loadout or showing the map or showing these things. So I always take the criticism and I try to implement them in my videos as much as I can, and obviously we'll get better over time with the help of you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching, and good luck in Stella Montis. Peace out.